Two of the major brands in college football history playing in a minor bowl game in Orlando, Florida. We got Steve Merrill on the line from WagerTalk.com to help us break down all the matchups during postseason play among the Power Five. Steve, and we've got a matchup here. Florida State, they had a three-game skid during October, and they bounced back nicely with dominant performances, mostly capped off by a win against their arch rival, Florida. And then you've got Oklahoma limping in at 6-6. So Florida State's a 7.5-point favorite in this game.
Yeah, you always have to kind of take, Mark, a contrarian aspect when handicapping the bowl games, right? You throw the regular season results out. It's all about motivation, which team is ready to play. I mean, if this line had come out back in September, I think everybody would have been jumping on Oklahoma plus the 7.5 to +8. The line opened 8. It's come down to 7.5, but it's still over that key number of 7. There's about a 4 to 5% chance that Florida State wins this game by exactly 7 points. So, 7.5 preseason would have been extremely enticing with Oklahoma. But then you look, as you said, with the recent results, this is an Oklahoma Sooner team that was on the verge of maybe not being bowl eligible. This team was just 5-5 straight up going into their final 2 games. They got the big win against Oklahoma State, a rival win. I actually had a strong best bet on the Sooners laying the touchdown in that 28-13 win at WagerTalk.com. I do think it was a little bit of a flat spot the following week when they lost outright 51-48 to Texas Tech, a high-scoring loss, which once again shows me that there probably wasn't much focus on defense. But defense has been the problem for Oklahoma this year. I think back to when they lost to Kansas State, they go down to TCU that following week. Horned Frogs put up over 50 on them. In fact, TCU had, I believe, either 4 or 5 touchdowns of over 60 yards, in the first half alone. Just big play touchdowns. We'll see if Florida State is able to do that. This was a pretty good offense this year, 36 points a game, almost 7 yards per play, almost 9 yards per pass, 5.5 yards per rush. So you could see some big touchdowns breaking in this game, and I think that's one of the reasons we've seen the early money coming in the over. It opened 62. It's now up to 65 within a couple days. So I think the over makes sense here if Oklahoma can do their part offensively. This is still a team that averaged 33 points a game, over 6 yards per play. The big edge for either team in this game, though, is Florida State on defense. 19.5 points a game, 4.8 yards per play. But the long layoffs in these bowl games, sometimes teams don't come fully focused. The game is in Orlando, by the way, so probably a little bit of an edge for Florida State. Oklahoma normally travels extremely well, as you know. The question is, will they be as excited to travel to this game? It's something we'll have to start reading about. We have several weeks till this game is played. Dig between those headlines, the local papers, see how many fans are traveling, see how much of their ticket allotment is used. It's another good indicator. I think Florida State will show up in this game. It really be if their defense shows up will probably be the difference.
Yeah, from a psychological standpoint and expectations of these two programs, obviously they're two of the bigger brands in the nation, but Florida State's been down. This is going to be their biggest season if they win a 10th game since 2016. They haven't even been to a bowl game in 3 years. They went 5-7 last year, so I think they feel really good about their team. There have been a number of players that have said, despite their NFL draft status, that they're going to play in this game because they're a close unit that's, weathered the storm and adversity and put together a really strong season. Oklahoma is used to going to playoffs and major bowl games, and this is the first time in quite some time that's not been the case as they limp in at 6-6. So just something to consider there. Again, it's Steve Merrill at WagerTalk.com for the NFL, college football, basketball, and the NBA. Get on over to Patreon. Join us there. We've got a Discord where you can talk college football all the time. It never stops. Chat all the time, 24/7, 365 with our knuckleheads on the Discord at MarkRogersTV on Patreon. And you get Steve's Under the Radar selection of the week. 12-1-1 against the spread. I hesitate every time I spit it out because you'd have to watch the videos to know it and believe it. But get it right there on Patreon.com. Search MarkRogersTV. All right, Steve, thank you so much as always.
Hey, thanks, Mark.